will tell me why that is scary to graph. It's got a fraction. So how do we fix it? Change the scale. 1, 2, 3. There is 1. So 4/3 is right there. And then I can keep the same scale on the x's because it fits. Slope is negative 2/3. Down 2, right 1, 2, 3. Down 2, right 1, 2, 3. There's your line. What if you didn't change the scale? Then you would go 1 1/3 right there, and you would go down 1, 2, and right 1, 2, 3, and it would look like that. Those are really the only two options. So you will give yourself a mark out of 2 there. I, of course, would recommend changing the scale because it makes it a lot easier. But that's up to you.
Could you show us how you, could you show the change scale?
1, 2, 3. If that is 1, how much is each square worth, Suhani? 1/3. I need to go to where? 4/3. So how many squares must I go? 4. That's how you change the scale. Y and x intercepts. The x-intercept means the y drops out. 5x plus 15 equals 0. 5x equals negative 15. X equals negative 3. In the y-intercept, the x drops out. Negative 10y plus 15 equals 0. Negative 10y equals negative 15. Y equals 1.5. Again, I have a decimal. So I should change the scale. On the y-axis, that is now 1. I need to go to 1.5, so I go to there. On the x scale, I need to go to negative 3. Negative 1 is 2 squares. So negative 3 must be 6 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you would draw that to get 1 mark. If you didn't change the scale, then you have a dot at 1.5 and 3, and it looks like that for 1 mark. Any questiones? Okay. Find that slope. You could have done 4 minus 3 over 2 plus 10. Or you could have done 3 minus 4 over negative 10 minus 2. And you would have gotten 1/12. Or you would have gotten negative 1 over negative 12, which is, of course, 1/12 for 1 mark. Any questions there? General form.
Yeah, you named it the YouTube
I know.
video.
It was a stale joke. I already saw it on the
I know. But funny is funny, Brittany. Funny is funny. I had a what?
He named all that.
The O in the form was capitalized.
Oh. You thought there was a secret code in there? I'm going to do that next year. I'm going to do something to every title and see if the classes can figure it out.
If they can figure it out, they get 1 count.
Find the slope of the line parallel to this. If it is parallel, what's its slope? The same. So I need to find this slope. Does that 12 matter in the slope?
Probably. Not. You didn't let me finish.
I haven't stopped looking at the back corner. I'm waiting for you to change your mind again. He waited patiently. Of course it doesn't matter. Negative 3y equals negative 5x. Y equals negative 5 over negative 3x. So that is 5/3. So the slope that you seek is positive 5/3 for 1 mark. Perpendicular to y equals negative 7x. y equals negative 7 over 2. But I don't want that. I want the perpendicular slope. So what do I do? Opposite reciprocal. Done. For 1 mark. Making that page out of 2, 4, and 3 is 7. Yeah?
Oh, I have the right one, but it's okay, guys.
There's 2 ways to do that.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay. Okay. What do you know about slope? It's rise over run, and it's also the change in y over the change in x. So if I am sitting at negative 5, negative 2, and my slope is negative 2 over 3, that means I must drop 2 spaces from negative 2, correct? What is 2 spaces down from negative 2? Negative 4. And then I must go 5 spaces positive from, or 3 spaces positive from negative 5. What is that? Negative 2. Or I could have added 2 to here, which would have taken me to 0, and then subtracted 3 from there, which would have taken me to negative 8. I am betting that 99% of the class has one of those 2 points as the next point on the line. Something totally wrong, undoubtedly. But it is possible that maybe they went 2 spaces away just to be wise asses. In which case, they would be at 2, negative 10. Or negative 6, negative 4. See, a lot of people did it right. I didn't. There you go, Adara. Or no, I shouldn't have said. A lot of people did this. I didn't. No, you didn't. Good job. Nothing. It was a joke from earlier. 1. What do you need, Arsh? That's fine. I don't care. Any other point? How many answers are there to this question? Infinite, because there is an infinite amount of x's and y's that work on this line. Now, what Arsh is saying, I assume, is he did this. Y equals mx plus b. And then he put in for y, negative 2. Equals negative 2/3 in for x, negative 5 plus b, found the y-intercept, which is something like 10/3. So we had y equaled mx, or negative 2/3 x plus 10/3, and then he just found y's and x's from there. Is that acceptable? Of course it is. But it would have required some trial and error. Or he would have said that the other point was 0x and 10/3 y, which would have been fine too, because that's another point that's on the line. Yeah? Yeah. And finally, if this is a right triangle, somewhere 2 lines will meet perpendicularly, which means their 2 slopes will be opposite reciprocals. If you sketch this graph, 4, negative 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 1, negative 2. There's A. 2, 1, 2, 1. There's a B. Negative 2, 1, 2, negative 2, 1, 2. There's C. And then you draw it. Where's the only possible 90 degree? Right there. So you have to check the slope of CB, and you have to check the slope of AB, and see if they are indeed opposite reciprocals. CB is, of course, negative 2 minus 1 over negative 2 minus 2, which is negative 3 over negative 4, which is 3/4. AB is, of course, negative 2 minus 1 over 4 minus 2, which is negative 3 over 4 minus 2 is 2. Those are not negative reciprocals. So it is not a right angle triangle. Now, be careful, because some of you sketch poorly. And this might have looked like a 90 degree. So what should you do if you think it might be 90 degree? You would check its slopes as well. If you did this on a proper graph, like this, you would definitely see where the possible 90 degrees are. Thank you. However, please remember, this is math class. And when you sketch it like this, and you say, oh, that looks like 90, therefore it must be 90, does that work? No. Math class, we don't care about opinions. We don't care what things look like. We prove it. Oakley dokley. Oakley dokley. Now, listen to me and listen to me carefully.
Is that a 1?
Yes. No, what am I saying? That one that's got to be out of at least 3 because you had to figure out where to check. Or you had to check all 3 corners. If you checked all 3 corners, you should get 1 mark for each time you checked them. If you graphed and then checked to save yourself work, you should be rewarded for that. Making the whole thing out of 7 and 3 and 1 is, it's out of 7-Eleven.
No way.
Way. One time I went to 7-Eleven, I bought a bunch of food, and it came out to 7-Eleven.
I don't believe
It was totally true. And I said to the lady's like, what? And I was like, yeah, I should get it free, right? She said, no. I went to 7-Eleven. I purchased some items. I took them to the cashier. The cashier went, boop, 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 boop. Then she pushed total. And the total was 7-Eleven.
Not even 7-12.
No, it was 7-Eleven. Some stuff, I don't know, probably a Slurpee or 2 and some sunflower seeds, I don't know, stuff you buy at 7-Eleven.
I'm going to do that by purpose.
I did not buy anything to actually eat there.
With tax?
No, total. She wanted $7.11 from me. Now, back to business. Listen, please. The review that I warned you to start working on yesterday will be marked on Monday, Moon's Day, Lundi. What? Beginning. That is the review that I told you to start working on. This is the graphing review. Oh, yours starts on a different page? You don't have this on 252?
Yeah, and then we also have this.
Yeah, it's all graphing review. Yeah. It's not a lot of work. Graphs take up a lot of space. And you can do most of it in your head. Like, looking at that, you're really going to tell me that's work? It's counting. I don't know where it starts in your book, guys. It starts on this page. No. This is the first page. It's what page? Just like I said, 252. Preston. It ends when it... It ends on 263. That is why I told you yesterday to start on it. You were supposed to start on this when you finished your test yesterday. And I gave you no other work last night because the assignment we just marked, I assigned it to you on Wednesday. What? Huh? No. I'll get it later. All right. Now, you have your work. Please turn to page 264. It isn't that long because graphs take up a lot of room. Pictures are big. Now, On page 264, you notice that I specify that we are writing equations. This is all algebra. You won't be using graphs. All right? It will take us a couple of moments to get through these notes, and it will not take long, and then you will be moving along on your own. Now listen to me, please. Due to the loss of our 2 days, the assignment that goes with this unit, I am not going to be assigning you. However, the knowledge is required. So here is what I will be doing. I will, of course, be posting this as a key. It will not be worth any marks. If you care to check it over, you can check it over to make sure you are doing it right. Do I make myself clear? But of course, as with all assignments, if you actually pay attention to the notes, the assignments are just the notes again, aren't they? All right, so let us go back to page 264 and let us begin working. What are the 4 forms that we have? Y equals mx plus b, which is slope-intercept form, which tells us some stuff just from looking at it, yes? Then we have y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. And that tells us some stuff just by looking at it, right? Both of these will give us stuff we need so we can graph them immediately, right? This guy gives you the y-intercept from which to start, and then you count your slope. Count, rise, and run. This guy gives you your starting point, but the negative signs mean what? Minus. So if this says minus 3, what's the actual point on the graph? Positive 3. If this says plus 4, what's the actual y value on the graph? Negative 4. And then you count your rise and run. Those 2 things allow you to graph immediately. And if you have the graph, you can then get back to those 2 immediately. Is everybody cool? Okay. Now there's the other 2 forms that we use more because these lock us into certain ways of thinking. General and standard form do not. General and standard form are ax plus by plus c equals 0. That's general, yes sir. And ax plus by equals c, that's standard. And the reason we like them is because they're tidy. There's no fractions. This guy has to be positive. And there's no fractions at all because fractions scare everybody. All right? Now, these guys are really pretty much useless in the graphing world, right? Because if I want to graph one of these, I've either got to do algebra to convert it to this, or I got to make a table of values, which is also a pain in the rump. Everybody good? Okay. So, we have all 4 of these available to us from which we may work. The first question is asking you to find the linear function. So find the linear function. This means I want an equation that works for this line. Now, the thing that kids always forget is all 4 of these technically are exactly the same thing. If you have an equation in slope-intercept form, you can turn that into point-slope form or general form or standard form. We've done that once or twice. Now we're going to spend a good deal of time on it. Because they are all the same thing, you can do this. You guys see these 4 different models of an equation and think that they are different, but they are not. They just look different. Like today, I'm not wearing glasses. I'm still Matt Myers, even though I look different. Right? Surprise, surprise. So, of our 4 methods, 4 forms, what one should I use for number 1? Y equals mx plus b, because I have a slope and a y-intercept. So it's y equals 5x plus 4. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And to convert them, how do I convert? All conversions are done with algebra. All you do is follow the algebra rules you learned in grade 6 to make the form you have look like the form you want. Oops, I did that backwards. How will I make this look like that and that? Just move stuff around. Now, a great many of you, well, not a great many of you, a few of you have mentioned lately that I can move this stuff around pretty fast. That's because I'm not doing that thing where you guys go minus b1. Because I've practiced it so much, I just move the stuff around. Is there anything wrong with actually writing it all out? No. Of course not. As a matter of fact, unless you have taken algebra out on a few dates and you're really good friends with it, you should be writing it all out. All right? I have been courting algebra since 1987. I'm still at the point where I don't even call algebra's parents their first names. Okay? It was a joke. Never mind. I still have to call algebra's parents Mr. and Mrs. Bra. Because even though I've known algebra and I've been working with it for 35 years, I am still not so close with it that I can call its parents by their first names. Then don't worry about it. Let's do math. How do I make this look like this? What moves?
The 4 and the y.
Why would you move the 4 and the y?
I think you moved the 5.
No.
The 5x, yes.
No.
Why not? Yes.
I asked you why you would move the 4 and the y. I didn't say it was wrong. I asked you why you would do it.
Because it has there's ax plus.
Because I need to have the x and the y together and the constant by itself. So this y needs to move and this 4 needs to move. What happens to that y when it comes over here? Minus y. What happens to that 4 when it comes over here? Negative 4. Now, Suhani is going to say, but that doesn't look like that.
Why didn't you just move 1?
Be-
The 5x.
because then the 5x would be negative, and we're not allowed to have negative a's, which is why I just made a big deal of that right here. Now, a great many of my high school math students cannot wrap their minds around the fact that that and that are the same. I don't know why they can't wrap their minds around that, but if you are one of those people that cannot wrap their minds around that, feel free to write it like that. Okay? Okay. Now how will I make this look like the green one? Everything will be on one side, so what will it be? 5x minus y plus 4 equals 0. And you'll be done. Good? Great. Number 3. What information do I have? I have a slope and a point. So what form should I use? The one that is called slope point. The one that actually has that name. Or point slope. That is y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. And where does the point that we know go? Where does it go? Does it go for y, y1, x, x1, or m? The point that we know. X goes for x1. Y goes for y1. Y minus, what's y1? -2. Would we ever write this? So what do we write? Y plus 2 equals m. What is my slope? 2/3. X minus 6. And that is my answer. Everybody good? Now, take that knowledge, which you can still see on the screen, so you can rewrite it if you want, and turn that into all the other 3 forms. How do I do it? Algebra. Standard form, we know, Ganika, algebra is your favorite. What is different between what we have in point slope form and what we need? Standard form. What must I have to get rid of here? I must get rid of the fraction, because standard and general form have no fractions. What else must I get rid of? Just look at this, ladies and gentlemen. What do you see here that isn't here? Brackets. I must get rid of the fraction, and I must get rid of the brackets. And then I must put the x's and y's on one side and the constant on the other side. All right? So let us start, cabbages. Y plus 2 equals 2/3 x minus 6. What would you like to get rid of first? The fraction. Good. Fractions are divided by 3. What gets rid of divided by 3? Multiply by 3. What's going to happen to that 3 and that 3? They're going to cancel, leaving me with 2x minus 6. What do I have to do to this side? Multiply by 3 to get 3y plus 6. Right? Now what must I get rid of? Brackets. 3y plus 6 equals 2x minus 12. Now what must I get rid of? I want to get to here, and here is where I am. Collect like terms and move the x's and the y's to the same side. Keeping x what? Positive. Is x positive? So should x move? No. Let us move y. We have 2x minus 3y. I've got my x's and y's together. Is this 12 in the right spot? No. So where should it move? Back over here and become what? Positive 12 plus 6. Am I almost there? What do I do with 12 and 6? Because they're like terms. 18 equals 2x minus 3y. And that looks a lot like that. Now, how do I make that look like this? Just move the 18. 2x minus 3y minus 18 equals 0. Yeah? Yeah. And finally, how do I make any one of the three look, I should change colors. Look like y equals mx plus b. Isolate y. From where? From which form am I allowed to isolate y? I can do any one, but what's the easiest one? Standard, because it's already almost there. So let's isolate y. 18 equals 2x minus 3y. Isolate y. Should I move the x away, or should I move the y and the 18, or does it even matter? Doesn't matter. You do what you want. You do you, because this is a safe space. Go. Is everybody good? I am waiting patiently, as always. But now I am out of water. Not out of coffee. I found my mug, so I didn't have to use that piece of crap sparkly one. I don't know if you were here yesterday. It was yesterday. I couldn't find my good mug. I had to use my wife's piece of crap sparkly one she got for Christmas. It doesn't work. Coffee doesn't come out. Doesn't keep the coffee hot. It's horrible. Okay. Are we Gouda? Okay, let's look at the next one. I need slope-intercept form. So what should my final answer look like? Y equals mx plus b. Right? Y, x, m. What do I have there? An x, a y, an x, and a y. What is missing from slope-intercept form? Slope. Can I find the slope? How? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What is it? 4 minus 5 over? Nope. Negative 2 minus 1. 4 minus 5 is what? Negative 1. Negative 2 minus 1 is what? Negative 3. Two negatives make a positive. So there is my slope. How can I use that in that? Right. Y now equals 1/3 x plus b. What is wrong with this? I need a b. How can I find a b? Well, what letter is that? What letter is that? Y. What letter is that? Y. What can I do with either 5 or 4? I can put it right there. Does it matter which one I use? No, as long as I do what? Use the right x. If 4 goes here, what's going for x? Negative 2. If 5 goes here, what's going for x? 1. Doesn't matter which one we do? No. Negative 2 equals 1/3. I just did it backwards. 4 equals 1/3 times negative 2 plus b, correct? What's negative 2 times 1/3? Negative 2/3. 4 equals negative 2/3 plus b. How do I isolate b? I bring that over here. What will it become? Positive. I already had 4 over here. I just added 2/3. So what does b equal? 4 and 2/3. If that's b, I needed it right there. So what's my final answer? Done like dinner. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? Number 6 is a trick. Why? Because when you first read it, you don't think it's a trick. Why is it a trick? Because it's an x-intercept. So is there a form that finds the x-intercept? No. But doesn't the x-intercept have an xy value? What is it? It's x0, correct? So now I have a slope, I have an x, and I got a 0, don't I? So what form could I use? What could I do here? I could try point slope. Could I do y equals mx plus b? I could also try that one, right? Because I have a slope. So what do you guys want to use? Okay, so if I did y equals mx plus b, what goes where? Sorry, that's 2, 0. What goes where? 0 goes for y. What goes in for m? 5/3. What goes in for x? 2, because we know the x-intercept is 2, plus b. What's 2 times 5/3? 10/3. 0 equals 10/3 plus b. How do I isolate b? Move the 10/3. What's going to happen when it goes over? Negative 10/3 equals b. Now what's my equation? 5/3 x minus 10/3. It's easy, right? It's just doing algebra. No new stuff. That's why this unit is 1 page of notes. Well, 2. Okay, without even doing it, because I'm starting to believe you, just tell me what we would do here. Read the question, talk to your neighbor, look at what you have, and tell me what you would do. What is the first thing somebody in the room notices? Toya sees parallel, which means what? I need, whatever I need to find is going to have the same slope as this. How can I find the slope out of there? Convert it to what? Y equals mx plus b. So step 1, if I go to y equals mx plus b, that is the slope I need, correct? That would be step 1. We're not going to do it. We're going to finish off our thinking before we start writing like crazy people. Now we know the slope, right? What else do we know? We know a point. Do we have a form that uses slopes and points? Point slope form. Sure, you betcha. So once we know that m, y minus y1 equals m, x minus x1. Do I know the x1 and y1? What are they? Y minus 1 equals m plus 3. Now all I need is an m. Where do I find the m? It would be right here. Now, when I am finding just a slope, does that 7 matter? No. 4y equals negative 2x. Y equals negative 2 over 4x. What would I really write? Negative 1/2 x plus 3. Does everybody see how to do it? What's the only difference in number 8? Do I still need to find a slope? It's perpendicular. So what do I have to do once I find that slope? Flip it and change the sign. Ganika. What? I'm sorry?
Can't you simplify that?
Why? I only want the equation.
Y equals negative 2 over 4. Oh, never mind.
Okay.
Yeah, you did it.
Okay. So everybody can do this one, right? We're not actually going to do it because I trust you.
Yeah.
Then go ahead. You already know how. I just showed you. And then down here, I'm going to get you to do it too. All I want to talk about right now is what method you would use, not actually do it. For line A, what would you use? You would use point slope. Why? Because there's all kinds of points available to you. Yes? And what about the y-intercept? Is it exact? No. So you're going to use point slope. What are you going to use for B? Point slope. Because you don't have a y-intercept again, but you have points and a slope. What are you going to use for C? Nothing, because you already know it. What is it? X equals 5. What are you going to use for D? Nothing, because you already know it. What is it? Y equals 9. What are you going to use for E? Slope intercept. Why, Thomas?
Because there's a y-intercept.
Because you've got a pretty y-intercept. Right? Now, you all want to go back and do this one? Because everyone was stressed. Y minus what? Y minus minus 2, which we would write as y plus 2 equals m x minus 3. But I need the m. I get the m from right there. X plus 8y. I don't care about the 5. Isolate the y. 8y equals negative x, right? Y equals negative 1/8. Yes? Is that the slope I want? Yeah. Is that the slope I want?
Oh, no.
Which is what? 8. So the perpendicular slope equals 8. So that goes there. And now I'm done. Is everybody Gouda? Great. How could you be hungry? Gouda is so gross. I do not like Gouda. I know living in this part of the world and not liking Gouda is a dangerous move with all the Dutch people that live around here. Huh? It's a Dutch cheese. I don't like it. Dutch people love it. Dutch people buy it by the giant wheels of cheese. They sell their kidneys to afford them. I'm just kidding. They don't really, Ganika.
That was Italian.
No. Gouda is a Dutch cheese. Italians sell their kidneys for cheeses from Italy, like Romano or Pecorino or Asiago or Cavacciale or bonconcini, or mozzarella. Right? Okay. Now, this last page is just algebra practice. I want to know K in each one. Do you see K right there? How can I make this look like something that's really easy to find K? 3x plus 2y minus k equals 0. But I want to find k, so what should I do, Arch? I just move k over there, and I get 3x plus 2y equals k, correct? Okay. X-intercept of 3, does that give me an x and a y? What is it? No, it gives you an x and a y. What is it, Crystal? 3, 0. If that's an x and that's a y, and that's an x and that's a y, can I work it? Great. What's this one? Negative 2, 0. Is that an x? Is that a y? Is that an x? Is that a y? Can I work it? Nice. What's this one? 0, negative 3. Is that an x? Is that a y? Is that an x? Is that a y? Can I work it? Yes. What about this one? 0, 7. Is that? Is that? Is that? Is that? Can I? Is that? Is? Can I? Now you do it all by yourselves.
Is that an X? Is that a Y? Is that an X? Is that a Y? Can you work it?
Yeah! It's like you learned math. Whew. All right. What is due Monday? The giant review. Okay? It is not as giant as you think because there is lots of pictures. All right? Everyone is good? Now, again, listen to me, please, ladies and gentlemen. There's only like 2 minutes left in class, so it doesn't matter if I talk about this for a second. I am very, very, very apologetic that we lost those last 2 days.
Now he's not apologizing.
Yeah. Are you sorry? You would prove.
Because, Ganika, it means we have lost 2 days of time to work that I was planning on having, right? Now, really, right now, until 2 days ago, I thought I had 10 classes left, when I really only have 8. I've lost 20% of the time I have left, which means I have to get that time that I budgeted in to fit perfectly. I have to find 20% more time to get myself there. Now, I told you that one of my possible options was going to be not giving you a test on the last unit. But you would still do the assignment, and I would put some questions from it on the final. You'd still have lots of practice. I just wouldn't be counting it as a specific unit. The other option is to work a little bit faster every day, write that last test, and then give you a shot at a cumulative in the afternoons of that week back.
Option number 1, because when we go too fast, it's harder.
So no test on chapter 8? There will be questions on the final about it. Okay. Now, listen please. I also just today got the schedule for when you people will be writing that numeracy exam. All right? You will be writing it on, and don't quote me on this yet because I got to go back into my email. I only read it earlier this morning. I am 99% sure that you are writing your numeracy exam on Thursday the 24th in Mr. Whitman's room because it's on computer. I'm not 1,000% sure. I'm about to check. So before all of you start jumping down my throat with, oh my God, when is it? Where's Mr. Wims? Wait a second so I can double check. Okay? Okay.